It's been said before, and I'll say it again. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So where would you rather be than right here and right now on the Ralph Rant? Let's go.
Welcome to the Ralph Rant, your source for hard-hitting Buffalo Bills takes. Now, here's your host of the Ralph Rant, that veteran watcher of generations of Bills teams, the prophet who predicted Josh Allen's greatness, that opinionated so-and-so you've walked out on parties because of, the Ralph.
Welcome to the Ralph Rant postgame show. Thank you so much for being here. I got so many comments on the video I did Thursday night giving 10 reasons why the Buffalo Bills would win this game. And many of them were from Patriots fans that they ranged the gamut, quite honestly. But one in particular said, "You're delusional. You need help. Ha, ha, ha." And I did choose to reply to that one, simply saying that I am not delusional. I am the Ralph. And I told you how it would go. And I've been telling you about this team now for several weeks. Because for 4 weeks in a row now, the Buffalo Bills have reminded me of Secretariat, the horse. The greatest horse to ever run, that loved to get behind in races. These Bills are toying with their prey and stepping out on the ledge further and further. Hey, can we get 21-0 down and really steal these guys' soul? Talk it up, brother. We just saw what happened there. Eerily similar to last week versus the Bengals. And it was funny, I told you last week in the postgame, I finally got around to doing, of course, because I was at the game, that it was strange watching the broadcast. People seemed like they were very nervous about the outcome. And I was at that game, and I was just never nervous. And then today I wasn't either. I said, are they doing it again? Are they actually doing this again? Letting teams get a feel for what they're doing in the first half, like it's going to work, and let them actually get comfortable in it. And I was talking about the fact there'd be halftime adjustments that would create the situation to get the Bills on the right track. And I also talked about the fact that these hive mind changes the team goes through, they don't happen during the week. They happen during the games while the team is on stage, while the lights are on. And you really saw it occur beforehand. You saw it on the last stop the Bills got before they took the ball at the end of the first half and went down and scored to make it 21-7. And the only issue was they left the Patriots a little bit of extra time, so they're able to go down and kick the field goal and make it 24-7. And then we get to the second half. And at this point, once again, I'm watching it on a device because I told you I'd head down to Detroit. I was able to see all the game up till like the 2-minute warning before I had to put the phone down. But then a stray text from someone a few minutes later told me all I needed to know, that the Bills had pulled it off, that they'd forced the fourth down on New England after the 3rd and 12 or whatever it was. I believe there may have been a sack there. I forget what that was, but then it was a 4th down, and then Joey Bosa got his hand on the ball, and the Bills take over, get 1 first down, and kneel it out. Now, it would have been one thing if the Bills and the Patriots would have gone, like this with the scores going through. But when you steal their souls like that, they get up 21-0 and 24-7, and then you just put an end to it. I think these Bills are proving something to themselves every week with this hive mind, with this secretariat state of mind, with something that just happens with the team, and team takes over. And what that must have done to the Patriots' psyche. You see Vrabel talking about Josh Allen afterwards. He's like, the hell are you going to do? 6'5", 250, and he's fast. It's very hard to get down. But now the Patriots have to go to Baltimore, who just shut out the Bengals today. And they're eyeing their own division title if they could possibly do so. And the Patriots still have to play the Dolphins. This is not over. And I think the Dolphins will want to go to Foxborough and have something to say about the Patriots winning or not winning this division. I have my notes from the game. We all watched it. It was amazing. We know what happened. Just going to start going through them here. Badass merch first in the house with a comment. Bosa. Talk that up. Vito's here. Offensively, I thought the Patriots were in trouble this game when they performed 2 trick plays. I've noticed that teams go to the trick plays when they struggle offensively. You know, you don't really see the reason for that. And they completed on that first one with the throwback to Drake May. I think that may have been Diggs who he connected with. I mean, again, we know the details of the game. It was interesting seeing Diggs on the sideline when this game was close to the end. You talk about somebody, looked like somebody just pissed in his Wheaties. Perhaps after eating several cloves of garlic. It should not have been such a hair-raising game. McDermott should have challenged that first series third down play. It was close. I don't really know if it would have been overturned. I did get a chance. I normally don't listen to the post-game pressers from McDermott, but blasting our way back from Detroit here this evening, I did listen to it. And they said they didn't get the replay quite in time. He did question it. I think the ball moved when Butte hit the ground with it. And then, of course, it gets put back in the Bills' face when the Brandon Cooks triple clutch or quadruple clutch, which that was a correct call. He did not get 2 feet down. Just grab the ball the first time, Brandon. I know you will. And, you know, not such a hair-raising game. I don't know, guys. I'll get to that more. The Bills have been throwing a little bit more downfield, have been throwing a little bit more downfield as of late. That's going to start separating or giving a lot more space for the offense to maneuver. Well, it definitely is, and you're seeing more open people now, especially with the heavier use of the backs and the tight ends in the passing game, which we've seen continue now for like 2-3 weeks, essentially. We talk about the Bills wide receivers, or lack of, and the Patriots in the same boat. They don't have any wide receivers. Well, you know, again, they've got Diggs and Hollins, but that's not what the Bills faced last week. And I don't know if Hunter Henry caught a ball today. I see the Patriots losing to the Ravens and the Dolphins, which would afford Buffalo one more loss. Let's say Philly. Yeah, perhaps Philadelphia, who'd they jump all over today after losing 3 in a row. But yeah, definitely. I think the Patriots have to be questioning some things. I mean, Buffalo just beat them up and took their lunch money. I mean, it wasn't just this, like I said earlier, multiple lead changes. Buffalo let them get ahead and then just came back and, if it gone another quarter, it would have been that much worse. Paul Chandler's with us. It's a bad look for the Pats, 28 unanswered. That's what experience in December football gets. And hats off to the defense for shutting down the Pats in the second half. Man, I'm loving it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This defense, which gets slammed and put down by people and so forth, the roster situations, of course, no Benford today. There's just something about how they're playing and sensing, and then just keeping it going. Steve, we circled them wagons. Yeah, they circled them today. That's definitely for sure. Paul Chandler again, and they thought Drake May was Josh Allen in New England, and who's your daddy? Now 35-7, second half. Someone forgot to tell them it's 60 minutes. I think the Bills like playing from behind. It's like Secretariat. You like running from behind. I think it inspires them. You get to a point where you're down 21-0 and they're feeling it and their fans are feeling it. And you just turn around. Didn't even take really till the second half. Defense just stuck it in their ass. Offense just stuck it in their ass. Yeah, Travion Henderson got loose for the one gash. They had him bottled up behind. Bad angles to get him on that backside. But that happened, and the Bills still handled them. Got the Ravens beating the Patriots after that second half. I just seen the Patriots are not ready. Ravens shut Joey B out the first time in his career, 74 games. Fins beat him. It's over. Yeah, well, 6-time division champs, that we can get a home playoff game. Go Bills. It's all possible now. It's all possible. Charles Stone is in the house. A guarantee we won't have to worry about the Chiefs this year in the playoffs after the Chargers won 16-13 and Mahomes getting injured late in the fourth quarter and leaving the field with a towel over his head. I don't know if that was a indication of the injury level or the fact that it was over for them. My goodness. My goodness. Scott's in the house. Yo. Up the irons is here. Let's go Buffalo, indeed. We're blasting through these. How much longer is this sustainable? A win is a win, but at some point, I'm afraid we won't be able to dig ourselves out of a big hole. Woke's joke, I believe the Bills are enjoying this process. I think the hive mind of the team is teaching itself it can get out of any situation. And there have been so many. And they pulled it off. And this is now 4 weeks in a row that there's just been a shutdown performance by the defense in the second half. And, of course, 3 weeks in a row where the Bills essentially won the game going away, won the game kneeling down, essentially. So I think it is sustainable. I think this is how they like to play. The only two real complaints I have from today's game are McDermott not challenging the non-catch on 3rd and long. He said he was waiting for someone upstairs to tell him to throw the flag. And second, what good is the moon ref if he's nitpicking on what plays to look to overturn? You see Vrabel throw a challenge flag and the moon ref switched the call, so he got to keep his flag and touchdown. Yeah, true. And the Bills are going to have to talk about that. I mean, they still have the ex-ref, I forget his name, who's on staff with them up in the booth. That was clear that ball hit the ground and was dislodged. And it's the first half. So, call a timeout if you're unable to get a challenge out. But certainly they've got to be on top of all of those. Unreal indeed. But this hasn't always been an issue with McDermott. It happened in the Chiefs games when he didn't throw a challenge flag because he was waiting upstairs for help. Just throw the flag first and then ask. Questions later. Yep. McDermott needs to be fired immediately. J17 saved his bacon again. Oh. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. This team is just, there's a pattern here. You've heard me talk about it for weeks, but now you're actually starting to see it. Jacob Spears, big dub. Fucking A. No Mahomes, no Burrow, and possibly no Lamar in the playoffs would be huge for the Bills. Got to watch out for Houston to play them on the road right away. Allen is going to have to play out of his mind. Well, you know, a lot of that depends on how the AFC South turns out. Because if Houston does not win that division, the Bills are maintaining a game lead on them. And even though the Bills lost to them, the Bills would have a home game against them. So the Bills control their own destiny in terms of them having to travel to Houston for a playoff game. Well, if the Pats win one more game, they'll win the division. If the Jets or Finns beat them, we still have a chance to win it. But we need help for both the Jets and the Finns. You have to figure out how that works out. I believe that they were 4-0 in the division, were the Pats. Now they're well, maybe not even that, because they had 3 division games left. So maybe, and you only play 6. And before today, they had Buffalo and the Jets and the Dolphins remaining. So half of the division games. So they would have only been 3-0 in the division. If Buffalo, I think now is 4-1 in the division. It can go 5-1, I believe. They beat. No, they've lost 2. What am I saying? They've lost both to Miami and to the Patriots. But we'll see. And, you know, who are you really worried about visiting? Big Bills comeback win. KC booted. Old man River rides again. What a Sunday. Yep, talk it out. Balling out. Yes, indeed. Now is money. The Now is Money show about that needs to be checked out with the big yes. Black Cloud. Only game that scares me left is the Eagles game. Even though they've been sneaky of late, they still have Hurts and Barkley. They both can hurt you with their legs. Plus, Goddard, their tight end, can hurt you. I'm not worried about them. I think Jalen Hurts is good on a very sort of narrow path. And if it jumps off of that path at all, it's trouble. My God. My God. An ACL. Wow. Which means he won't be available to them in the beginning of next season. Yeah, the Eagles broke that franchise last Super Bowl. That left marks that you're not just going to go to the collision shop and get those kind of pulled out with those suction cups. There was structural damage to that team. My goodness. How it flows. Got out of the game without any major injuries. Chiefs eliminated big injuries around the league. Mahomes, Devontae Adams. Guys, this is all new to me. Christian Watson, possibly Puka Nacua. Oh, my God. I was yelling too much earlier. You can hear it in my voice. But no more cough mutes. So Devontae Adams and Puka. Wow. I don't know how that game turned out. If Detroit was ahead when I last saw it. We owe the Eagles 2 beatdowns. Yeah, that's for sure. It was the one a few years back that was at the Ralph, and then the game that I think the Bills lost that, and was that an overtime game 2 years ago? Kyle Long also stated the Bills go to the barn and bring out Secretariat, which is Josh Allen. Interesting. Yeah, well, I said it first. Secretariat loved to get behind, loved to come from behind. Every freaking race. And then see how long he could wait until I mean, he won all these races. He lost one couple early on when he was just learning to run. And then basically that Triple Crown, he basically went in as the number 1 seed, essentially. The Kentucky Derby, that's your divisional round playoff. He comes from behind and wins that. There's no question about it. It was close, but he came from behind to win it. And then the Preakness Stakes, that's like the conference title game. There again, got behind, and then Secretariat knows when to go, and he goes, and he wins. But when it got to the Belmont Stakes, the Super Bowl, Secretariat blasted out of the gate and never looked back. I'm predicting that, and I have predicted something like that for the Bills for a while. Because this looks like Secretariat. This looks like a team that likes to give you the idea that they're playing with their food, and then they just put the bite on teams. Woke's joke. Who's calling the defense? I'm glad we turned things around, but the first half was absolute garbage. What are they doing to prepare before the game? Geesh, it wasn't even close in the beginning. Well, you can say they're not preparing correctly, or you can say that they make really good adjustments from what they were doing, or you can just say that it's this hive mind of the team that's like seems to take on this thing of allowing opponent to get comfortable in what they're doing and seeing how far to the edge of the cliff they could stand without falling. The Bills, that is. 21-0. It's 14-3 last week. That must have not been enough to prove the point. 21-0. And then Josh Allen has 5 touchdown drives in a row. Thank you. Perfectly said, perfect timing. If the Bills are trying to send a message around the league, I think they're getting that message out. I mean, people were on the Patriots to win. That fan base was hyped up. I was called everything from delusional to one of the world's best comics to just outright out of my mind to reaching. I actually had a Patriots fan come back and write, it had to be a 300-word comment going through and listing his 10 reasons that the Patriots would win. Son of a bitch, that must have been crushing at that stadium this afternoon. Well, you know what? I've been there and done that and bought the T-shirts, so I don't give a shit. Stay down, Patriots. Go Ravens next week. You bet. You bet. And the Ravens have a shot at their division. And they need to win that game, even though they know that might help Buffalo, who's been their nemesis in the playoffs. But moreover, the Patriots just got to be wondering now. It's very easy to get up in this state of mind of how good the team is, and that is what we saw with them in this 10-game winning streak. I think I also got trashed for saying, oh, all the teams that they beat in the winning streak, a lot of them kind of sucked, but the Bills were amongst those. Well, yeah, a lot of them kind of sucked. And the Bills were amongst those. But that was week 5. That was in those shitty uniforms. I think it was the night that McDermott debuted the glasses. The Bills, I think, have someone watching the podcast and listening. Can't keep starting every game down 3 touchdowns. Our first half are embarrassing. Well, we don't start every game down 3 touchdowns. That's actually been the first time. And I don't know how far the Bills are willing to push this, but I do think, again, and today, I was thinking this is 21-0. So there's a lot of time left in this ball game. It's early on. There's just tons and tons of football left. And the Bills are testing their emotional fortitude, emotional toughness. That's what McDermott is talking about when he talks about toughness of the team. It's not physical toughness. Of course, they're tough. They're football players. But the emotional toughness, fortitude to go and do that. Yeah, you don't want to get down 3 touchdowns, but by God, if you can get down those 3 touches and then prove to yourself, week after week, getting down in games. They were down by 7, down by 14. Well, not down by 14 last week. The Bills had gotten the field goal after Ty Johnson slipped. And then down 21. It's like they're pushing the point, advancing the point. How far can we take this and still be safe? Because we'll know every inch of this race course and be able to go win a Super Bowl with that. The last time I've seen a second half of Jones' adjustments defensively, that is comparable for what Buffalo's doing any second halves, was the New York Giants with LT, Pastels, and Belichick. Parcells, I know you meant by that. I'm waking up here. Yeah. And you're talking about, of course, Super Bowl 25 with that. Bills practically played penalty-free. Indeed, they did. And it was interesting to see, the Patriots must have felt it early on when the Bills started that comeback. I mean, Keon Coleman draws the interference. Brandon Cooks draws an interference call. Then you started seeing a couple of false starts by the Patriots. It's got to be tougher when a team comes back from you being up 21. I'm sorry. That's that win's gonna that win by the Bills is going to leave a mark with the Patriots. Norm, the Bills fan, is in the house. Great wouldn't like how there were more shots downfield to receivers. Any thoughts? I've heard it said that the Bills, they have been leaving some stuff in the trick bag throughout the season. Maybe Brady is trying to, sometimes you'll set up a team, your opposing defense across the line of scrimmage from you over the series of plays, maybe over a series where you're kind of setting them up for something. The Bills, almost like they're doing this more on a game-to-game basis almost. And this idea of the Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope thing, which I've described it as, where Ali would let a fighter come out and sort of do his thing. Ollie would be defensive, get a couple shots in, but didn't put too much work in, let the other fighter execute their game plan, and even get comfortable doing so. And then he flips the switch and lowers the boom on them. That's been the Buffalo Bills, really the last 4 weeks in terms of the defense, and 3 weeks in terms of the offense. The last time I remember a team making second-half adjustments like the Bills are was New York Giants with LT, Parcells, and Belichick. Yeah, I think that's what you were indicating before, and absolutely. Absolutely. Big one today, Deion Dawkins, no false starts. Gabe Davis inactive. Ray Davis, great returns again. Well, I think, Keon Coleman out there again. And I'm just as happy for Gabe to stay fresh. I think Gabe's going to be very valuable in the playoffs. Nobody, according to Donald Ohina, but nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. The definition of MVP is laughable. Without Josh Allen, Buffalo wouldn't be a drip of what they are. I don't put much stock in player trophies, but Josh deserves the MVP regardless of what happens going forward. Yeah, but I don't like stating it so much that the team would suck without him. A lot of teams would suck without their starting quarterback. So it's kind of unfair just to make the Bills at large, the rest of the team, aside from Josh Allen, look worse because Josh Allen is so good. And quite frankly, it wasn't just Josh today. It was a defense that actually shut down the Patriots in the second half. And as long as this defense keeps on flying under the radar, people think, it's no problem. We get 21 points on them. We're not letting them come back. Hey, this was the Patriots. This is the darlings. This was, the home of this year's MVP. This would be the first the first team to do this or that with a first-year head coach and so forth. It all crumbled and shattered in the Patriots' face, just like I told you it was going to. Ray Davis averaged 41 yards on his first 4 kick returns today. Best return in the league with this new return rule. Yeah, and what a discovery that's been. And amazing. I mean, that's really a weapon for Buffalo. Trey White earned his paycheck today. Indeed. Fume drummer in the house. Steven Busick is in the house. He has a torn ACL. And you're talking about Mahomes, I believe. Out for the year, torn ACL for Mahomes. Yep. And, of course, with that happening in December, you're going to see something different going on in Kansas City next season. McDermott plays that soft nonsense every first half. Should have brought the heat all day on May. I don't agree, Tory 71. I think McDermott's playing rope-a-dope with him. They're letting these teams get comfortable in what they're doing in the first half. Yeah, this will work. We're brilliant. I'm Josh McDaniels. I'm brilliant. My game plan's going to be great. It's a winning formula. Huge ass win for the Bills. Mike Hunt said they would lose. Yeah, we all know Mike Hunt. JP in the house, though. Badass merch. You play 8 division games. well, let's see. You've got 3 teams you're playing, and you play them twice each, so that's 6. How was the theater performance this afternoon? Did you wear your Bills jersey? Well, you know what? I was going to dress up a little bit, but I did wear a Bills top with like sort of a flannel over it. And I thought about that, and I said, I don't know what it's going to be, because we left at halftime, and the wife was driving down there. I've got her iPhone 15, a little bigger screen with it, YouTube TV going, following the game. We get in the building down there, and again, it was great. There was one performance early, and my daughter really wasn't performing. She was directing. This is a directing class that she's in, and this was the final exam essentially, and it was a great show. She's a good director, so it was very, very cool. And yes, I was in Bill's attire wearing this also. McDermott should have called the timeout, and you're talking about on the Paul Magliocco is in the house, but yeah, you're talking about in that first throw to Butte down the field. That ball was definitely dislodged. That could have changed the tenor of the game a little bit too. Mahomes ACL. Happy with the victory, but McDermott should have challenged that third down pass. Yes, indeed. Wasn't happy about punting on their 45 and 42 in the first quarter while we were falling behind. Paul Chandler. Micah Parsons left the game. Interesting. I've got to catch up on most of the rest of the action here today. Detroit lost. My goodness, they were up in the third quarter. Or I saw them towards the end of the half. I didn't know if it was in the first quarter. We were at a pizza place, Shields in Midtown. It was great. But my goodness. McDermott plays pussyfoot all first half, soft zone nonsense. Should have had the heat all day on this kid. Yeah, again, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're playing rope-a-dope with teams. Because if you do that, if you put the heat on them right away, then McDermott might have McDaniels might have a plan B he goes to right off the bat. But if McDaniels gets the sense and Vrabel get the sense that, okay, this is successful, what we thought was going to be right all week is right, and we pat ourselves on the back because we're brilliant NFL coaches, and then McDermott just lowers the boom on him again. I mean, you would think some other teams are going to start actually seeing this as this goes along further. Lamar will be in. They will beat out Pitt for the division. That's going to be an interesting one. They're all interesting, actually. Secretariat was a long shot out of nowhere and won the Derby and was the favorite after that. Secretariat had won quite a number of races before he got to the Derby. He was horse of the year, I believe. And then and by the time the Derby came around, he was a favorite. Sham, of course, was the other horse he was kind of up against. It was, in fact, the Belmont Stakes was almost like a match race between the two. But Secretariat made a living off of starting off races behind because he liked to come from behind. It was more fun chasing down his opponents than just running away from them the whole time. And I think the Bills might be something like this. I'm lost myself. Brett Doward with us this evening on the Ralph Rant postgame show. And guys, if you are new here, and perhaps some of you are new because you caught the vid from the other day, boy, what a tremendous response it was. Really got under a lot of Patriots fans' skin, but a lot of Bills fans responded, got like 5,700 views, which is sick. I mean, for this channel. I think we gained 200 subscribers almost. We're in the 1,200s somewhere now. So I'm stunned by that. And but if you are new here, on the pregame or the postgame show tonight, rather. Go ahead and take the nanosecond record. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Share it. Tell your buds. I'll give you exactly what I think on this show. I have probably some hot takes, but I'm often right. Ever since, as I say in the intro, the prophet who predicted Josh Allen's greatness. And the video's on this channel. Go find it. You'll see. Gritty win by the Bills. Acid wizard. I used to be a wizard with acid. Gritty win by the Bills. Patriots utterly collapsed in the second half. Indeed. Indeed. I don't see or hear any Patriots coming in here and talking crazy to you now, Ralph. Indeed. Well, I had a number of them that was, like I've told you about some of the replies. I could make a show out of some of the comments that these guys came up with, and that, you know, the Patriots were at least 2 or 3 touchdowns better. And even to the point where, it, you know, thinking what they were thinking at that point of the game when the Bills were down 21-3, and then what it must have been like in the turnaround. And I have to say, last week when we were at the Ralph for the game with the Bengals, and we're in the club seating section, second row, I'm running the aisle, across the aisle. There's some regulars that my buddy Bruce knew, but in the front row, there was 2 Bengals fans. And good enough guys. They weren't carrying on or anything like that. Very excited for some of the game. And at the end of the game, the guy's head was down, and it was like his chin was frozen to the rail. Very tough stuff. I've been there. I've done that. I've bought the T-shirt. The T-shirt's sitting deep in some drawer. I don't want to see it again. I'm ready for events. What a win. The defense is a major concern, though. Jimmy Jam 1980s in here. And again, I'm responding to all of these with the same thing. I think the Bills are playing with teams. I think they're playing with teams. I think they're giving teams the idea that they could do what they came in intending to do, and they let them do it long enough where they get comfortable feeling that it must be fine. And if it screws up on one drive, that's all right. It was just one drive. We'll go back to it. I wore my whiteout Josh Allen jersey to break the curse today. I know you love those uniforms, Ralph. Well, you know, I mean, they have their advantages. I mean, if you need a mirror to shave in, you could just hang up the jersey on a wall and look in the numbers because they're so reflective. And anyway, Bills were in white tops today, so that helped. Ralph, I was looking for you during the game for a reaction video, but I see you didn't do one. I'd love to watch your reaction during the games. Love your channel. Mark, thanks so much. You know, and I actually am thinking about doing just an in-game sort of thing where I can't actually show the game on my screen because you'll get a strike from YouTube. But what I can do is go ahead and call the game as if I'm doing my best impression of Van Miller. And then, of course, give you guys indications when you're trying to sync up with where we are. I don't want to be ahead of you saying something's happened and you haven't seen it happen on your screen yet. So we could deal with that. But, yeah, and I couldn't today because I had to leave at halftime, get on the road, head to Detroit, and got right to the 2-minute warning. And I think that was at 2 minutes where the Patriots had the ball deep in their own end, and there was the 3rd and 7 or 12. I forget what it was. Maybe there was a false start by the Patriots then, but it ended up with them on 4th down trying to throw, and Joey Bosa bats down the ball. But I saw that after I saw a text come up, actually on my wife's phone from some of her friends, and one of the texts just said, "Never in doubt." I knew what that meant right then. So yeah, the Bills had gone ahead and won. And actually, when my daughter met us there at the building, that was just when James Cook was going in uh, for that score. It wasn't the last one, or it may have been the last one actually, to get the Bills to 35, perhaps. But he goes in standing up. Unlike the score where James Cook is magical, his elbows 2 inches off the ground, his knees 2 inches off the ground, and the ball is 1 inch past the goal line, and they made that call correctly and gave the Bills that touchdown. Black Cloud says, I said this before the beginning of the season. The first game will set the tone for the rest of the season. We had to come from behind and win that game. Last 3 games, we had to come back and win. Yeah, I think they're enjoying that. With KC out, the Bills are still the only team to go to 4 straight Super Bowls. If we only won one of those 4, it would have been known as the greatest team in NFL history. Possibly, and it may still be. I think in a lot of ways, this team might be better. I think this team has more intestinal fortitude. Now, guts is the wrong word, but just emotional strength and toughness. I mean, these Bills would have won that first Super Bowl. They would not have allowed Parcells to take over that game in the second half with O.J. Anderson in Super Bowl 25. For me, the Bills win the Super Bowl. For me, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, all of the come from behind talk and strategy won't even matter anymore. Nothing will matter. I'll have to find a seat at City Hall. Only issue for me. There you go. We live in their heads rent-free. They're jealous of the love and passion we have for our Bills. They wish they had fans like us. That's why they all troll us. Go Bills. Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, they for being so sure their team was going to win, they jumped on that video an awful lot with my giving my 10 reasons. And some of the people really, really gave it some thought. Some of the stuff was really funny that people said. Forget some of the really good ones. Are we going to get Ed Oliver back for the playoffs? I believe so, Brother Scott, who's in the house, and he is actually in his house in Baltimore, where the Patriots must go next. But yes, I believe Ed will be back. They have talked about that being the fact. He looks like he's done well. And of course, they could brace him up to prevent extension, which would stress that injury area anyway. So I think we can count on that. And of course, he's still got about 3 weeks to be able to get that happening. With 5:50 left in the second quarter, we had 2 first downs, net minus 2 passing yards. Pats at that time had 12 first downs and 3 touchdowns. Pats ran for 241. Embarrassing. Yeah, when you give up a 21-point lead, that is embarrassing. Thank you for the comment, Jeff. Oh, that's not what you meant. I'm sorry. I knew that. Excuse me. We were lucky it ended up snowing at Foxborough. A massive advantage for the Bills. I don't think May knows how to play in the snow yet, as he kept on airmailing it over dudes' heads. Well, I don't know how much of a snow globe it actually was. There was no effect on the ground where it actually had collected at the Ralph last week. And, of course, I walked on that field after the game, and it was a hell of a difference between those areas, because I think they that crunch down a little bit and then start to freeze up. That's a little more compacted when guys step on that snow. In this game, you had no problems actually, or whatever you want to call them, but no effect from the snow actually on the playing surface. And, of course, that's also a grass surface. I don't know if the actual snowfall got to him or if he's just like, these are the Bills that went in the snow and, oh, fuck, it's going to be a snow globe again. That may have been going through Drake May's mind. Charles Stone at Cleveland next week should be a dub, but Sanders might give them fits in the first half if they play like today. Well, they're going to do this with probably a lot of their opponents until it gets closer to where they're actually trying to win the championship. I think that there's probably at that level of coaching, when you spend the number of hours you spend in preparation and putting together a game plan, it just seems to me that you would get the idea as an offensive coach or offensive coordinator that, I'm in a special position. There's only like 32 guys in the country that have jobs as offensive coordinators of NFL teams. A lot of them probably think, I'm really good at this. And when they come up with their plan, they think this is a really good plan. And if you give them the idea at game time that it's going to be somewhat successful, I'm really good at this. I came up with a really good plan. Look, it's working. I must be right. And this is the trap those opponents are walking into. And then Buffalo is just flipping a switch of some sort in this hive mind. And off we go. If you could ask Josh Allen one question, what would it be? I guess just right off the top of my head, I think he does, visualization of stuff and so forth. And is he actually visualized in his mind holding the Vince, feeling the cold weight of it, seeing his reflection in it kind of distorted? Some fireworks, of course, going off in whatever stadium. Smelling a little gunpowder, maybe, from the fireworks. Take your senses and imagine. What they say is your subconscious does not know the difference between fantasy and reality. I know what some of you are thinking, no, we're not going there, but in terms of visualizing yourself doing something, and the more detail you visualize yourself doing it, the more real it seems, the more you can actually manifest that. Because I'm wondering how often he actually thinks of that, of getting to that spot. But if we were just like, I ran into him at a bar, say in the off season, Super Bowl winners, my first question is, what are you drinking, Josh? The league is scared of us. They don't know what to do with us. Just ask yourself, this question. The AFC playoff field is narrowed somewhat, of course, now with the Chiefs out of it. So you got teams like the Chargers, maybe the Ravens, maybe the Steelers, the Jags, perhaps the Colts if Phillip Rivers pulls off some 44-year-old magic. Denver, obviously. Even Houston. And yes, they had their big defensive game against Buffalo. And they did all that, and the Bills were still within a whisker of winning that game. But the question that you could ask each of those teams, and, who is the last guy you want to face in the playoffs? Who do you most not want to see across the field in the playoffs? It's Josh Allen. Nobody wants the Bills. I mean, think about it. Nobody's going to want to play the Bills. Red or natural shells. It's good. Only problem with your rope-dope theory is Allen has to be Superman every time. Well, I mean, what do you want him to do? I mean, he's being himself. You could see he got a little pissed today after the one hit, and they were getting feisty out there early. And I mean, it's just what he does. And I don't really see that he's so much rescued the team today. Yeah, he was great. He was Josh Allen, certainly, right? But he doesn't play defense. And that defense just shut down the Patriots. And they shut down the Texans in the second half. And they shut down the Steelers in the second half. And they largely shut down the Bengals in the second half. How about Chris Sims eating a shit sandwich again, picking against the Bills the last two games? My boy Blue. Yeah, when he was back sucking up to Josh because he liked getting the interviews with him. I don't know. Sims talks a lot about, sparking up, and not that that's a bad thing. Certainly not. But I don't know what he's thinking. There's some Bills hatred out there recently. Doug Flutie and Greg Cosell both talking about the holes in the roster. Good Lord, Micah Parsons, ACL. Wow, well that could have a horrifying impact on Green Bay. Boy, this is a wild season, isn't it? My goodness. I look forward to seeing the Texans. Yeah, you're not going to. Buffalo would have something for them next time. And CJ Stroud does not scare me. None of those quarterbacks scare you. The only one that really scared you is, he'll be scheduled for surgery here in a day or so. Your 10 reasons the Bills will win were spot on, Ralph. Thank you, Scott. That was my belief. And, of course, I don't know if the title was maybe a little bit clickbaited. The Bills will beat the Patriots. Here are my top 10 reasons why, or something like that, whatever it was. But I just had that feeling, and I thought that those reasons were accurate. And you did see some of it today. You saw Robert Spillane on the sideline for the Patriots a good bit. They're very good linebacker, free agent signing from the Raiders, I believe. And then, they had no Milton Williams today. And they did not have Will Campbell at left tackle. They had Verdarian Lowe, who had an oblique injury coming into this. And the Bills got quarterback pressure and sacks like we haven't seen for weeks. But it came out. I think Milano got both sacks, right? And then Bosa with that knockdown. But thank you, my brother Scott. Number 17 is so good, the rest of the team is underrated. Don't underrate it. It takes the whole team to win. But damn glad we have 17, though. Yes, thank you. Very much well put. It's too often that it's said, well, without Josh Allen, they wouldn't have done anything. Without Josh Allen, they suck. Well, take away a lot of starting quarterbacks and ask yourself the same question. But there's just something more to it than that. This team has a hive mindset that I think is enabling them to do some pretty interesting things. Filthy dollar bills. Well done on the handle. And that's the way to write it so you don't get YouTube adding some numbers in. Filthy dollar bills. Possible torn ACL for Micah Parsons. Now, I'm hearing from others that that's actually more confirmed. So my goodness. Oh, well, you're right. It's 8 home games. Math ain't my thing. That's all right. That's quite all right. I'm going to go down and get a couple of cold Stellas after this and get into some football evening enjoyment here, and I won't be any better at math. I guarantee you that. Cecil McDogg is in the house from Portugal. Now, you're not going to go there to watch the Bills, but if you do get there, go for the seafood. My goodness. Yeah, Black Cloud 319. When everyone was screaming to trade for him, I was saying he was one ACL or Achilles injury away from a massive mistake. Yeah, and you're speaking of Micah. No, that's a tough deal. I'm pounding the table, Bill, to represent the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like that. And, you know, who's already bet on that, who actually has already been on that thought process now for over a week, is Nick Wright of Fox Sports. And they're a great show that's on every day, First Take. That'll be interesting. Also, to be interesting watching what Colin Cowherd has to say. I haven't watched it yet, but go check out his reactions that he does sometimes with John, what's-his-face, who's a former scout, but they go through, and he's not spoken kindly of Buffalo of recent, but it's interesting stuff. We look like a college team with a Heisman quarterback. Defense is not playoff caliber. No. We'll see. We'll see. You could say that. I mean, if we all just wanted our opinions, we wouldn't need to play the games. We would just decide on our own. But again, like Chris Berman always said, that's why they play the games. What is McD doing? He should have challenged that pass in the first drive. Hairston was looking right at the ball when it hit the ground. That play needed to be challenged. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Damn, sucks for the Packers, indeed. Anyone hear about Mahomes? Yes, he's down, left in the fourth quarter, and he tore an ACL. 177 first half and 247 yards rushing for New England. Too many yards. Come on. Well, you know, that's aided by the long run that Travion Henderson had, where he got out the back door and he was on the field side, not the boundary side, and just the proper angles were not taken. I don't think playing a rope-a-dope will work against the Broncos in the AFC Championship. Sadly, coaching is underestimated in the playoffs. Well, you know, we'll see. Frankly, Denver is one that doesn't seem to get its offensive shit together until the end of the game. But I'm not afraid of Denver. I'm not afraid of Sean Payton. I'm not afraid of Bo Nix. Greg Casale had a great take this week and on One Bills Live. The Bills have no great players aside from Allen due to mistakes by Bean. You know, maybe so, you know, but I'm just interested in them winning, and we're hoping to see that continue here as we keep on going. Broncos are legit. I was doubting them just like the Patriots because they hadn't beaten any good teams, but they outplayed the Packers. The Packers, to me, are kind of bipolar a little bit. excuse me, the Packers got beaten by Carolina at their house. I don't trust Jordan Love, and certainly the Broncos have a good defense, but who are you really afraid of? Smash the like button. Let's work that algorithm. Thank you, Woke is Joke. And certainly your comments help, and certainly hitting subscribe helps if you are new. I know there's some new faces here. Well, I don't see faces, but I see your names. And perhaps if you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And of course, like and share the channel. We are growing very, very well now. Trying to get to maybe 2,000 subs by the time the playoffs roll around. Well, we went from about 1,030 to 1,250 or something like that at this point. So this has been a good couple of days. So thank you very much for all the support. Much appreciated. Patriots are tomato can champions. See that jackass Dave Portnoy bragging at halftime, sucking an egg now. Yep. Oh, I'd love to go catch up on all this stuff afterwards. That's going to be fun. Good win, but no celebrations. The lousy run defense is back. Milano made a couple good plays, though. That was nice to see. Well, I'm not quite as critical of it, but I guess I'm kind of stuck on my own thoughts, which I've expressed a number of times in response to a number of the comments here about how I feel the Bills are toying with their opponents in terms of what they're showing them defensively. Play Gabe. They will play Gabe. Keep Gabe, if you can put Coleman out there, get him his reps, but make sure you have Gabe for the playoffs. I'm good with that. Badass Merch agrees with Bumper Jack. Portnoy is a tool. Broncos and Texans are the two teams to look out for in the AFC. I think the Bills can be confident about any other matchup. And and of course they've got the good defenses, but go Bills. Jeffrey Eimer in the house. Bills are the Browns without Allen. McDermott fired. You guys. Looking forward to seeing that video of the Patriots fan comments. Oh, if I put that together, maybe I'll do that. I don't like to, you don't like to rub their noses and shit when they've just been forced to smell the glove. But McDermott is definitely the dope. I'm not so sure. McD and Bean are the dopes. Guys are drinking too many celebratory cocktails here and getting nasty. One more team to beat, the Eagles. Rest Allen for the Jet game. Trubisky can play. Well, that depends. You might need that Jet game if you want the number one seed. Boy, I mentioned beers now, man. That cold Stella sounded so good right now. I really believe we're going to the Super Bowl. Jacob Spears, I agree with you. I have predicted this for some time, since before the season. Many of my takes aren't accurate, but I believe that this team is close enough where a hive mind exists, and this team it's like a predator playing with its prey, allowing the prey to run around a little bit to have some fun before they step on them. The division is still in week 18. Allen needs to play indeed. Yeah, in response to that about the Jets. Glad to see Milano getting some big plays today. How many games lost to injury for the Bills this year? We have to unfortunately be in the top 5 of NFL in injuries. Well, it's up there. And if you go to Banged Up Bills, Dr. Kyle Trimble has a lot of good stuff on his site and his Twitter page and so forth. But I'm happy to see that we're getting through some of those, and guys seem to be pretty calloused up. Milano's playing some very, very good football right now. We won't lose to Cleveland in a million years. If we do, fire McDermott immediately. Ray Davis had a great game today on special teams. Oh, that was Lockport dude. Got to mention him, yes. I was just in town there the other week. Of course, day before the Bills game was running around, had to stop at Reed's, made it to Reed's. You guys from around there, you know where Reed's is. I watched the 4 straight Super Bowl seasons as a kid. Never a doubt with Kelly, Thomas Reed, and Bruce Smith. Today I'm worried. It was Jay's 17 had more than Cook. These W's are a lot less comfortable. I don't know. I mean, Dawson Knox just broke Pete Metzelar's record. I'm not as worried as you are, guys. Matt Milano had a great game with 10 tackles and 2 sacks. Thank you, Mr. Ohina. Stephen, on my 50-inch TV, your channel is feeding, video feeding as a phone screen. Black area in the sides takes up 2/3 of the screen area. All the other YouTube channels look normal. Well, that's really freaking weird. You know, what I can do here is actually go to my videos here and go to the content and go to, let's see, I have to be in the live thing here, right? Oh, it's not actually showing. Well, that's interesting. I'm looking at myself on wide here, and I don't know what's up with that. It should, because that's like a vertical format. Anybody else chime in if you're seeing that, because I'll have to dig into that if that's another issue. Bills v. Packers would be glorious. The first Super Bowl was almost that. Had it not been for who else? The Chiefs. I think the 3 teams who cause a problem are the Eagles, Rams, and Texans, but I don't know about Adams or Puka and their injuries. Charles Stone Seahawks squeaked by the Colts 18-16. Another result. Never bet against Josh or any MVP. Allen reminds me of a pool hustler, in a sense. Ralph, the top 10 list was correct. Thank you, Bumper Jack. Heard a report during the Broncos-Packers game that Mahomes did tear his ACL. Yes. It is true. Oh, boy. If Nick, if Nick came in, 2 weeks ago on crutches onto the show, if you recall, wearing a neck brace and the crutches and the red Chiefs bathrobe. And then last weekend, Brew rolled him in on a hospital bed. Brew himself was suffering with the Ravens loss. And we're talking about First Take and Nick Wright and Steve Broussard on the show, along with Kevin Wilds, who is the emotional center of the show, sort of like Lily Munster was on the Munsters. But if Nick did that both of those weeks, are they going to wheel him in a pine box tomorrow? That might be somewhat tasteless, actually, and I didn't even mean it to be funny, but it seems like the natural progression. And, Mahomes has fallen off Mahomes Mountain and is actually still cartwheeling because he hits pieces of snow and rock on the way down, tumbling to the bottom. The last 3 wins feel better than the first 4. Oh, for sure. Portnoy's a clown. Indeed. Go Bills. Jacob Spears, who do you think wins the AFC East? I think the Patriots are exposed. I think Buffalo wins out, and I think the Patriots drop the games to the Ravens and the Dolphins. I accidentally came back, and the phone portrait video format went away. Oh, that's good. There was something about me showing the vertical thing. They updated their site, and I've not seen that before. But I stayed away from that, and I'm glad to hear that, Fume Drummer. Appreciate that. 2 feeds on YouTube. I switched myself after thinking there was something wrong. Oh, that's what it is. Well, that shouldn't be the case. I'll have to check and see why that's happening. This video is widescreen. Pre-game video was a phone screen. Yeah, and I think I had that sort of second view up there. Learning something new about StreamYard every day. Let's go. Brett is in the house. Brent, is Milano back? Yeah, he's back. Yes, they have a coffin ready, draped in a KC flag. Oh, my Lord. Call the president. We are killing the Patriots in my Shannon Sharp voice. Well, guys, it's been a hell of a day. I'm going to get out of here and let you all watch some football because it's already gotten started here over on the Sunday night contest. I am going to go have a celebratory Stella in the green bottle and take in some of these games from earlier today and then get myself set up for the Sunday night affair. So I thank you very much for the support. Again, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You get my honest takes all the time, and certainly the Bills did me a favor by going out and kicking ass and taking names in the rest of that ball game today so that my 10 reasons video ended up being accurate and one of the most successful in the history of this channel. So, what's up with the Ravens? They shut out the Bengals. Of course, yeah, we saw that happen today. Go Bills. Great show from Bomber Jack. Gentlemen, all, thank you, everyone, for being here. Very much appreciated. Let's go party and enjoy this victory. Get ready for next week. I might talk the wife into it. Cleveland is not that far of a drive. Tickets are pretty cheap. Might be considering it. Going to the NBTL. Mistake by the lake. But until then, as always, and we love our Bills, but be good, do good. God bless. Go Bills. I am the Ralph, and this is the Ralph Rant. I'm out. See you next. We'll be back probably tomorrow with another vid and some of my takes for the week upcoming. Have a great night.